So the fund that I'm raising now, it's inner city focused, affordable, multifamily housing focused, the other investments, but actually raising two funds side by side. So one is an opportunity fund, and that'll be for institutional partners and for, our prominent investors that, yeah. But we're also crowdfunding up to 50 million, and it's targeted specifically at people in the communities that we're investing in, right? So people from Compton will be able to invest in whatever this anchor project that we do in Compton. That's our national strategy, and it's something that was we were very visible with it in 2019. Nip was a big part of it, but I really wanted to connect with you. It's important now. Obviously, Nip and YG were really close. Our vision was always to really grab that person who was the heart of a city and be like, hey, let's actually do this together. Let's have economics, like skin in the game, but also try to trigger a change in mindset to try to move our culture ahead a little bit, right? And so that's still the movement, that's still the wave that we're on. We're gonna prioritize this and what we're doing in South Central are my first two I want to check off the box.
We can work together to make this project successful and to allow our community to have a stake of ownership in the city, and that's what it's all about.
If he signs off, we can do something in Compton. We can do it Vector 90 in Compton. Y'all just gotta come with it.
No, the city needs it.
We need it.
You mentioned Nip. He, to me, is one of the singular most compelling figures in the history of hip hop, pop culture, period. Just because he did things backwards in a way. And what I mean by that is most guys get a bunch of money and a bunch of fame, and then they give back to their communities.
Yes.
He gave back to the community and was building his community first and foremost. That reputation almost came before the hip hop stardom. A lot of people who know you know that you stood shoulder to shoulder with him on this and a lot of other things. What did you learn from him?
That thing you just described, like that he started backwards, he was in the community building his brand the entire way. So you saw that from far away. So when I was conceptualizing this idea, and I needed a partner who could really touch the community, it had to be Nip. So I was proactively trying to get to Nip to sell him on the idea. So you automatically, you kind of get someone's aura, their ethos, their vibe from everything they say, everything they do. So it was crystal clear who Nip was in every moment of his life that you got to observe. Every word he said in the interview and every word on wax, right? So a lot of what I learned about him was before I even met him, but it was just incredible confirmation when I met him. Because a lot of times you meet people and there's a disconnect between what you thought from afar, and then you meet him and it's kind of a letdown. But
90% of the time.
Yeah. So it was a perfect overlap between what I understood him to be, what I hoped he really was, and then what he actually was. And it's just the purity in that his intentions are always dope, and what he said he was going to do, he did. And he always had the best intentions in the royal sense for like his community, his people, everyone he did business with. So very pure individual in that sense. Very specific story about this space that, I appreciated more later on. So he was dropping Victory Lap, right? Which would go on to become Grammy nominated. All-Star Weekend in LA. So if you're an entertainer, you're an athlete, that's All-Star Weekend in LA. There's a lot going on you probably want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And if you're dropping an album. His commitment to this and to his people and to making a radical change was such that he actually did kind of the launch party for Victory Lap at this space. So at a co-working space in the heart of the hood where typically someone would do it at, Delilah, I don't know, some
Gonna
fancy
be in a
club.
spot to make
spot.
to make the people come out and turn up, and it's gonna be sceney, and you're gonna have photographers outside. You're gonna do the whole Hollywood thing to announce to the world what it is that you're doing.
He did that here, right?
Building the value for this place. I'm here as part of my community.
He took away from his moment. Like, he'd been working on that album, you know, it's legendary how long he's been working on his debut kind of album, right? He been working on that for years before he even met me. And he took away from that energy, which was a perfect, you know, all-star weekend in LA, his debut album finally coming. He came and spent half the day here. But he had a performance that night. And that's just, it seems small, but I think about it like, damn, that's one of those things that kind of defines what he was. Like, he allocated time for the things that he thought were important, and he made sure, because it would have been very understandable if he didn't include this space in that day. So anyway, I always think about that when I think about him and what he was, and what I learned from him is just that constancy and that constancy and purity of kind of purpose and belief system, and how he connected action to it at all times.
Every minute, every day.
Yeah.
You don't turn it on and off. You got to be about it. Do you feel like a lot of the things that you and Nip were doing, and things that you are still doing now that our brother has passed on, you feel like you're addressing those concerns for the people of this community?
I'm trying to. That's the intention of all of this, and that was the intention behind having someone like him who had a platform and a voice that was credible and trustworthy. So if he said, "Hey, there's a different way or a better way of thinking," people who are in this system, Nip is familiar and they know they can trust the Nip. You know, I have an outsider's voice to them at this point. But yeah, the intention is to show there's a different mode of thinking and being. The one thing that I've taken away from starting this year, we interact with people want more. They want, not even more, they want different. They want that exposure to other things. And they realize that they don't have that, right? But you don't know what you don't know. And so that's the perverse irony of the situation. Everybody wants better, right? But you have to have some conduit or platform to better. And you need people who have been fortunate enough to go and learn and pick up some things, to come back and directly give that opportunity, or just be present. You know,
or even give you the resources and let you decide what better is for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As an option, right? I'm not saying this isn't the only way. This isn't the way for everybody, but hey, this is a way. Like, you can come here and talk about business, learn people who are actually doing business that look like you, sound like you. There's no judgment. And for it to work, it needs to grow and scale. And that was our whole ethos. Like, let's, the very grassroots, direct level, let's just be radical and try something. And then the things that work, like, let's go share it. And then let's do it over and over again in other places with other people who are the Nip of their neighborhood or the Dave Gross of their neighborhood. Let's be the start of something. You know, this isn't the end game, it's the start of something.